Welcome to Film Files today. My name is Josh and this is Mike. So we're coming to you from the premiere of Tim Timmerman last night. And I can't even talk about it because we're about to talk about it right now.
Yes, we are. Oh my gosh. Okay. So it was the premiere last night. I sat down getting ready to watch this sort of, just
Red carpet event, pictures taken of us. It was so great.
People were glad handing us. They're coming up, "Oh my gosh, I love your podcast." And we're like, "Hey, what's up?"
I'm sorry, reality check. They weren't actually.
Well, oh.
No, it's okay.
Okay, moving on. Look, it was an awesome film last night. It was a great premiere. We got to meet with the director for a minute, Cameron Sawyer, who put this thing together. He
met with some of the cast as well.
Cameron Sawyer, who wrote it with Justin Coupier. We're not sure how to pronounce his name. We didn't actually talk to him, but we got to speak to a few of the other actors and producers. It was a good night.
Yeah, it was a great night. We had a lot of fun while we were there. So this was done by Picture Picture Films, which is Cameron's production company. It was also done by VidAngel Studios, and this is their first major motion picture venture post some of the legal disputes and the injunction that's been put upon them that's still kind of pending right now.
That's right. I mean, it's kind of an interesting story. Like, it's cool in some aspects where, if you're not aware, VidAngel's a company that it's an app where you kind of purchase and then resell movies. So it's almost a rental service, almost, depending on what legal language we can use. And what you do with the movies when you buy them is they can actually filter out stuff that you don't want to see, like violence or nudity, sex, language, things like that, Jar Jar Binks. And Hollywood's been ticked about it for some odd reason.
Because it ruins their artistic vision, supposedly.
Because their artistic vision is filthy. Anyways. So, moving on. What's really cool about this is that like, okay, so Cameron goes to Hollywood. He pitches this movie, this idea, to tons of studios. He goes up and down the boulevard, and everybody rejects him, saying, no, we're not going to do that. It's too clean.
It is funny, though, but it's too clean.
Yeah, funny, but, no, we need to spice it up a little bit. And he goes, no. And so as that was going on, as soon as a Hollywood exec said, it's too clean, all of a sudden VidAngel's ears start burning. They go, I got an idea. While all the litigation is going on, we're being sued by Hollywood. Why don't we start producing our own content? And they picked this up immediately. And the premiere of their first production in theaters came out last night, and it rocked the house.
Yeah, it was a major success, major event. So to kind of summarize what's going on for you in the movie, Tim Timmerman is your average high school student body president, super charismatic, super popular, and it's kind of following him as he's going throughout his senior year of high school and trying to coast along the way, if you will, and just kind of the decisions that he has to make and the moral dilemma of those decisions, and we kind of see that play out.
It's been said that it kind of has a Ferris Bueller Day Off feel to it, where your main character is like having as much fun as possible while fulfilling the least amount of responsibilities as possible, but he's the student body president. Shouldn't he have the most responsibilities? And so that's like the sort of theme to the adventure that the movie was.
Definitely, yeah.
So, I mean, we talked about the director. We've got some awesome actors here. So it's Tim Timmerman's the main character in it, played by Eddie Perino. We've seen him in a few things. He was just priceless in this. And I gotta say, I think my favorite part about what he did with that character was just his facial expressions.
Because he would deliver, one-liners or just something, and then just to see his facial expression as he's saying it or after his line was just perfect.
I mean, the best part was, like, it wasn't saturated with one-liners. It wasn't, one of those sort of things. But his... like the way that he would just like look at somebody, just it said more than a one-liner could have.
Yes.
And he sold it perfectly.
Yeah, very well played by Eddie. That was great job by him.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like watching him in this, it looks like he had a lot of fun, at work.
Oh yeah, I can't imagine the actors kind of trying to draw upon their high school experiences and reminiscing about different stories with each other between takes and stuff. It must have been a really fun set to work on.
And Eddie's character, this Tim Timmerman, it's like he's adult, but he's like a lovable dummy, and which makes you want him to be successful, in the storyline, and just Eddie's selling of this character just captures you right away and carries you through the whole thing.
Yeah, so to continue on, the next character, the lead female, Sydney Anderson.
Played by Chelsea Madoff.
Yes. Also, another really great, well done job by Chelsea. Do you want to tell us a little bit about her character?
So this is what stuck out probably most to me, aside from Tim Timmerman just being an amazing character, is this Chelsea Madoff's character in this. She's the student body president of the rival high school, who has no animosity whatsoever. Like, rivalries don't matter. Everybody's like a good person by default, and she is like just probably why Hollywood didn't accept it is because she's just like almost too perfect. Where she's just way nice and kind, and her only flaw really is just probably loving more than she needs to. Where it's like of the time and love that she volunteers to everyone, like the deaf children at the library, she probably volunteers more love than time.
And I think because of that, you fall more in love with her character. She's just a very sweet natured person and just trying to do what's right. And I just love that about her character. And she does play Chelsea plays this Sydney, who is hard of hearing or almost deaf, and she did that really well. Last night at the premiere, she was asked about what her experience was in playing that kind of a role, and she said that she was able to do a lot of research with people who are in the deaf community and hard of hearing community. And personally, from me watching a lot of Switched at Birth with my wife, I can honestly say that she did a lot of research. I mean, she was while I was watching it, her eye line was right at people's lips. People were having to face her directly as they were talking to her. So a lot of tribute and homage was paid to a community that deserves a lot of respect. And so I think in that aspect, it was very well played and very well tributed to those people.
Oh, she did a great job playing that role. I also have to take the time to give a shout out to all the kids. So she volunteers at the library with all the deaf kids and talks to them, reads them, or
the
signs
deaf school,
them stories.
yeah.
The deaf school. I can't remember what it is. And none of those kids were actually deaf, but you could have sworn that they were all that way because they're all doing sign language, just awesome, and just having a good time, and it looked like they were just right there with it. But yeah, we found out from the premiere last night that none of the kids were deaf, and so I'm kind of torn because it's like having that knowledge of it seems really impressive, and it's like, does it make those kids any less adorable to me because they were awesome? Moving on.
Go ahead.
I mean, we could talk more about the other classmates and things. The side characters, like the sidekicks, the best friend. I mean, this movie had everything, and everybody was just perfect. Like, there were some of those side characters that were the friends that kind of just hung out in the background. Others played a more central role of things, and it just...
The casting in this movie is just amazing to me. I would walk out of that movie thinking that everybody's personalities in real life are what they were on screen. I mean, I couldn't believe anything else but that.
Yeah, you just couldn't be more satisfied with the lineup that they had.
Yeah, very believable. So one kind of memorable moment from the film that we want to talk about is this game of assassins.
Oh my gosh, it's the thread that's woven through the fabric, the tapestry of this entire film, that it's there, and if you remove that thread, the whole tapestry just stays there, but you want it there. I don't know if that's the best way to describe it, but the movie doesn't hold together. It doesn't fall apart without that thread, but it's definitely brought up to another level with that. I mean, once you see it,
you'll understand what we're talking about.
You couldn't imagine it without the Assassin's game.
Yeah.
Maybe we should say what it is. the Assassin's game. It's a game that students play. I've seen it played in high school and college in different variations.
Mm-hmm.
Essentially what it is everybody puts money into a pot at the beginning.
Uh-huh.
And everybody has a name tag too. And so what it is everybody gets a unique name and an airsoft pistol. And what you're supposed to do is you're supposed to hunt down and shoot the person whose name you have with your airsoft pistol before the person who has your name gets you. And if you get that person, then you get their name. And it's last man standing, last person alive wins. You can't play the game at school, so on any of the school property, that's forbidden. But anywhere else is free game. And so it's like there are times where Tim Timmerman, like he's playing the game, and there's this goth kid that has his name that's coming for him, and he just randomly will show up at times, and it creates so much drama and tension, and it like gives action to the movie. I
just love it so much.
It's a great addition to the movie that you couldn't imagine it without after you see it.
Yeah. Oh man, so good. Another really great part of the movie are the dream sequences, and I mean, we can't really talk about them other than they're really funny and they're really good.
Yeah, it's like there are just a couple of dream sequences in it that really help kind of solidify where we've been in the story and where we're going. It's one of those flow things that keeps everything moving. Anyway, we had a good time. Highly recommend the movie. Last night at the premiere, Cameron Sawyer, the director, he was describing kind of the lessons he's learned in making this film, in this production. I mean, it's tough. Like, this is a hard business to be in. It's a constant uphill battle, I'm sure, for him. And so I'm sure he was just on top of the world last night. But he said the biggest lesson he learned was perseverance.
Yeah, I would definitely say that this movie shows perseverance for him because, I mean, you look at where he started with Kickstarter on this film, and they only made like 40% of their goal. So obviously he didn't get funding from that. And to come to where he is now, I would say for sure that's evidence of perseverance, in my opinion. I mean, you come from something like we mentioned, Hollywood, and to push through failure or rejection from funding or pitches to keep going forward with this to where now we're looking at a possible national release. I mean, that is like, besides getting like an Oscar, that's every filmmaker's dream is to prove everybody wrong, to be able to make your dream what it is and to have as many people see it as possible. I mean, Cameron has really come a long way with this film.
It is the Hope of America dream.
It is.
If you will.
Yeah, I think that sums it up really well. It is in and of itself.
Which is just great. I mean, isn't this kind of a story of what it was like for Cameron to be the class president back in the 90s when he was in high school? Yeah. Like, some of it was not so loosely based on a lot of his experiences,
right,
which is just great. So I guess when you watch it, you'll have to decide, wow, the director's kind of screwed up. Did he really do that? I don't know if that's the one he did.
He told us probably like 40-50% of the movie is based on real things. So
the Assassin's game was real.
Absolutely, it was.
Oh, he talked about how he actually lost to his friend. His friend did buy a scooter with the money that he got out of that and let somebody drive it with I don't know if I get in trouble for telling the story that he told, but the friend had narcolepsy and was riding the scooter, and the narcoleptic episode kicked in, which means he fell asleep and wrecked the scooter. And the friend who won was never able to ride the scooter again.
Yeah.
Wasn't he one of the producers? You got to figure that out.
Yeah. So I think going along with that, the best thing for me of note is that the comedy is just so well written. I mean, I can't praise this movie highly enough. I went into a screening about a month ago, and I was honestly expecting another very stereotypical Utah type of movie.
At the very least, a Napoleon Dynamite is what I was thinking.
Right, of course. And then I went in, and what I got was the comedy surprise of my life. I lost my crap in that first screening. I lost my crap last night at the premiere. I mean, this movie is so good, and it's so funny, and it's so heartfelt, and it's so nostalgic. And there's just there's just something to be said about this movie that like I can't put into words, honestly.
Seriously, Josh is just so passionate about comedy. It makes him tear up at night.
No, but I mean, really, this movie deserves high praise.
Yeah, I mean, it's not easy to write comedy. If you've ever seen a stand-up comedian fall flat on their face, it's not pretty. And movies can do it too. They are fallible. This one is a golden comedy. Like, it's worth the time. I mean, Hollywood said it was too clean for him. Comedy doesn't have to be dirty in order to be funny. It is nice too, and I don't want to. I'm not knocking on like Napoleon Dynamite style films. They can be very funny. Napoleon Dynamite and Nacho Libre are some of my favorite films. Just to sit down and watch. Like in the middle of the night, if I can't sleep, I'm putting on Nacho Libre. It just makes me happy. But what's nice about this film is it kind of has that sort of comic feel to it, but with a really solid plot line, like a really good story to tell. And it's just, I don't know, it's excellent. Like, okay, so if you were to review it, giving a final review of the film, because we were at the premiere last night,
right,
where people were shaking our hands and saying, "Oh my gosh, I love your podcast." Reviewing Tim Timmerman, Hope of America. What do you have to say?
So for me, this is a movie, as we've said before, great comedy, warms both heart and soul, memorable film. For me, it's got to be a 9 out of 10, honestly.
Yeah, I think I have to agree with you. It's just, like you said, the comedy is a 10. The story is about a 9.5 for me. There's certain technical things about it that I'd probably give an 8, but an overall a 9 is very easy to imagine in this show, in this movie.
Very much so. I think this film, and I said it the first time I saw it, deserves a national release. It honestly does. It deserves to do well. It deserves the opportunity to be able to be seen by a lot of people.
Let's talk about that for a second,
Yes,
because this is
let's do.
important. We saved the best for last, sort of thing. We're giving everybody here an opportunity. This film has only been released in Utah so far. We saw the premiere last night. This weekend, it's really important. If you're into this sort of thing, if you want a good cinematic adventure, and if you want to help out like an awesome cause like VidAngel doing productions that are too clean for Hollywood but are seriously legit films, you need to go out. If you live in Utah, you need to go out and see it this weekend. If the film does well today and tomorrow, or Friday and Saturday, if it does well this weekend, it will be released nationwide, which would be just awesome. It is a film worth seeing. Like we've mentioned, it's gotten what is it, like several awards and nominations and such. It's had tons of high praise at film festivals.
Yes, it's been all over the country already in film festivals. Lots of high praise, still continuing to win awards.
And so if it does well this weekend in Utah, Utahns, Idahoans, close to the border, this is a film you want to go and see this weekend. So don't wait for it to be released. Just go check it out. It's worth it's worth the $7 soda.
Yes, and the full price ticket for sure.
Yeah. Also buy the ticket.
Yeah. Well, thanks again for joining us on Film Files Podcast. If you want to connect with us, you know how to through social media. Use the hashtag Tim Timmerman if you want to spread the word about the movie. Don't forget to go and see it this weekend and let us and also the Tim Timmerman people know what you think. Thanks so much for joining us.
Have an awesome weekend, guys.
See ya.